I mean, I don't like to use this analogy, but like a great movie, a great, incredible movie.
J.D. Vance has had a meteoric rise in the Republican Party. From a best-selling author and never-Trumper in 2016...
I'm a never-Trump guy. I never liked him.
...to winning a U.S. Senate seat at age 38. And now, he's former President Donald Trump's running mate.
Elect Donald Trump in 2024. God bless you, sir.
Vance is very much a creature of the new Republican Party that Trump has shaped in his image. By picking Vance, Trump is showing he's doubling down on this MAGA agenda. It's a full-throated, populist, national conservative ticket.
Here's why the Trump-Vance ticket is a big deal for the future of the MAGA movement and the GOP. J.D. Vance first catapulted to fame in 2016 after he published his memoir, Hillbilly Elegy. The book detailed his experience growing up poor in Rust Belt, Ohio, and making it to Yale Law School. It was a smash hit and became a Ron Howard-directed movie in 2020.
I know I could have done better, but you got to decide. You want to be somebody or not?
Have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders.
The Skull and Bones is a secret society founded at Yale University in 1832. The Bonesmen, as they're called, choose their initiates just like Freemasonry. In fact, the only way one can join the Skull and Bones is if one is invited by inside members. Every year, only 15 members are allowed to enter, which is very mysterious because many popular figures throughout history have been members of this secret society. 3 famous United States presidents have been Bonesmen, such as William H. Taft, George H.W. Bush, and his son George W. Bush.
Where am I? Grandpa? What are you doing here?
Chris, welcome to the Skull and Bones Society. This is where the most powerful men in the world are groomed for their futures. Every president, every CEO, every douchebag named Ryan Seacrest. The Skull and Bones Society has been a part of my family for decades, and we want you to become a member.
Really? Wow, cool!
Excellent! You get your own stock portfolio, a percentage of the 9/11 Victims Fund, and the best medical care on the planet. You'll be kept as healthy as a horse.
Many U.S. senators are also Bonesmen, such as Prescott Bush, John Kerry, John Chafee, Jonathan Bingham, David Boren, John Sherman Cooper, Chauncey Depew, William Maxwell Evarts, James L. Buckley, Robert A. Taft, Frank Bosworth Brandegee, John Hines, and John Patton Jr. were all members of the Skull and Bones. 5 U.S. governors, 3 congressmen, 5 Supreme Court justices, Pierre J., the first chairman of the New York Federal Reserve, and George L. Harrison, the president of the New York Federal Reserve, were all Skull and Bonesmen. The Bushes have long been pillars of the infamous Skull and Bones Society, based in a windowless mausoleum known as the Tomb, alongside the campus at Yale University at New Haven in Connecticut. Every year, 15 bloodline students are initiated into the Skull and Bones Society, and the ratio of skull and bones initiates who end up in positions of power in politics, banking and business, media, and intelligence agencies in the United States, in front of camera and behind the scenes, is massively greater than the general student population.
We're trying to paint this white nationalist movement as a movement primarily of poor and working class Americans, when the truth is that the alt-right is actually led by better educated and frankly pretty well-to-do people.
In his initial foray into the public spotlight, Vance was very much anti-Trump. His book made clear that he was a conservative. Many people latched onto it as an explanation for Trump's sort of surprise success in the Republican Party and then in the election.
When Vance launched his campaign for the Senate in 2021, his stance on Trump underwent a big shift.
I obviously didn't fully appreciate the president's appeal in 2016.
Yeah, he said some bad things about me, but that was before he knew me, and then he fell in love.
He even described himself to me in one interview as a flip-flop flipper on Trump, saying that he had similar policy views but was against Trump as a person until he realized that Trump was advocating for the policies that he supported.
While running for Senate, Vance was one of several pro-Trump candidates in the primary. But in one debate, Vance was the lone candidate to oppose a NATO-enforced no-fly zone over Ukraine, and that caught the eye of Trump's inner circle.
What a no-fly zone, it sounds nice, like we asked the Russians not to fly planes over Ukraine. What it means in practice is American Marine Corps pilots, Air Force pilots, and Navy pilots getting in dogfights with Russian jets. Which the problem with that is it's not in our vital national interest.
That impressed Donald Trump Jr., and he began advocating for Vance's candidacy, including with his father.
Trump's unique brand of conservative politics has been reshaping the core tenets of the Republican Party since he was elected in 2016.
I'm Judge Lytton Mandrake, and on behalf of the council, welcome. In any fellowship, you need someone you can trust. Someone to be there, always and for anything. A soulmate. Well, my soulmate is Senator Ames Leverett, class of '72.
Gentlemen, you've been arranged in pairs, soulmates. Each soulmate was chosen to complement the other and to accept responsibility for the other.
Mr. Wheeler, Mr. Pitcairn. Thank you. Open them. Our membership, like life, has its pleasures, its hardships, and sometimes its pain. But unlike life, the connection between you is eternal. Let this seal the bond between you. Be silent as you endure. Well done. Gentlemen, put on your watches. With the council as your witnesses, you have now become soulmates.
And now, gentlemen, the rules.
We live by the rules, we die by the rules.
Read your rule book. There's a rule for every possible situation. Guard the key to our entry and your rule book as you would guard your own lives. Most important, remember, our rules supersede those of the outside world. A skull above any other.
A skull above any other.
Well done, gentlemen. Congratulations. As chairman of the Order of Skulls and on behalf of the council and the 322 alumni throughout the world, gentlemen, you are welcome. Welcome home. The proudest day of my life, Caleb.
Thanks, Dad. I want to make you proud.
He's changed the GOP so much that the Republican National Committee recently revamped its platform to a new, stripped-down version, one that focuses more on Trump himself than on specific policy decisions.
Trump has been changing all of those stances to the point where many older Republicans feel it's no longer recognizable. At the same time, a movement has arisen in Trump's image that believes in his policies and believes that the Republican Party should be reshaped in his image.
Believers in this movement, referred to as the New Right or National Conservatives, take Trump's impulses and turn them into doctrine. Vance has become one of their leading voices.
The American people, again, they need people who put the interests of their own citizens first, of our own citizens first. And that's what this entire movement is all about. And I think that's what the Trump presidency will be about if we give him another shot, as I expect that we will.
When Trump selected Mike Pence to be his running mate, that was a pick very much intended to reassure Republican voters. Pence, being a traditional conservative, an evangelical Christian, was someone who regular Republicans who saw Trump as sort of an arriviste in their party could look at Pence and say, all right, that's someone I can trust. Fast forward to 2024, it's clear that Trump no longer sees a need to share power with that wing of the Republican Party.
Yale campus, the Skull and Bones building, is known as the Tomb, being decorated in skulls, bones, swords, knives, armor, death, blood, and darkness. It is here that they perform their bizarre and sexually ritualistic initiations. Sometimes, ear-piercing screams can be heard coming from this building. In 2001, ABC News, along with the New York Observer, filmed an imitation throat-cutting ritual being performed by the Bonesmen.
The videotape provides a grainy glimpse into what appear to be the initiation rituals of a secret society that's been around since 1832, whose members have gone on to be leaders of Wall Street and the White House, the Senate and the Supreme Court.
They're sort of trying to scare the initiates, make them, disorient them, frighten them.
New York Observer investigative reporter Ron Rosenbaum accompanied a team of Yale students who shot these pictures 9 days ago. Rosenbaum's curiosity about Skull and Bones was permanently piqued when, as a classmate of George W. Bush, he lived right next to the Tomb, the group's heavily fortified home. From their perch, Rosenbaum and his cohorts taped the Tomb's courtyard. What they captured, they say, was initiates, known as neophytes, being forced to kiss a skull, then members performing a mock killing. It may look like your average fraternity nonsense, but Rosenbaum says it's not.
Even though it may seem silly to us, it seems to mean something to them, and you can't argue with the success of Skull and Bones.
True. Famous alums include senators John Kerry and John Chafee, to name two, cabinet secretaries such as Averell Harriman, and 3 presidents, William Taft, George Bush, and George W. Bush, who's been reluctant to talk about Skull and Bones.
Does it still exist? The thing is so secret, I'm not even sure it still exists.
Rosenbaum says the tape is a valuable artifact, an extremely rare view into the secret society that groomed the American ruling class for generations.
Rumors of the latest rituals say that a newly accepted initiate must lie down naked in a casket and masturbate while the other members watch gathered in a circle. The Skull and Bones are known for their odd and sexually promiscuous rituals, but many don't know of the horrific and evil acts committed by these members throughout our government. In May 1918, Prescott Bush and 5 other Skull and Bones men ransacked the grave at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. They took turns to stand guard while others robbed the grave and took away artifacts and Geronimo's skull. This was taken to the Skull and Bones headquarters at Yale, where it is used in their sick rituals and ceremonies. This horrible story is told in an international history of the Skull and Bones Society and was quoted to Ned Anderson, the tribal chairman of the San Carlos Apache tribe, when he was negotiating to have Geronimo's remains returned to the tribe's custody. A 1989 article in the New Yorker said, one bonesman recalled during the early 70s seeing perhaps 30 skulls, not all of them human, scattered about the tomb at Yale. This is the mentality of the people running our world. Every Skull and Bonesman has been incredibly successful and put at great powers in our government. President Bush tapped 5 bonesmen, including William Donaldson, the head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, to join his administration. John Kerry, class of 1966, became Senator and Secretary of State. Henry Luce, the founder of Time magazine, Life, Fortune, Home, and Sports Illustrated, was a bonesman. General Manager of the New York Times, Amory Howe Bradford, was a bonesman, class of 1934, and married Carol Warburg Rothschild. Percy Rockefeller, class of 1900, was a wealthy businessman and sat on directors' boards for many corporations. Richard Gow, president of George Bush's Zapata Oil Company, was a bonesman, class of 1955. Alexandra Robbins, in a CBS interview, stated, "They do have many individuals in influential positions, and that's why this is something that we need to know about." The Skull and Bones, being interleaked with many government branches, is also connected to the CIA. Many powerful bonesmen in our government were very much involved in the CIA. The Central Intelligence Agency is widely known for its shadowy acts and strange positions it holds in government power. Many bonesmen have graduated with CIA and intelligence community jobs waiting for them too. F. Truby Davison, Howard Weaver, William Sloane Coffin Jr., V. Van Dyne, James Buckley, Bill Buckley, Hugh Cunningham, Hugh Wilson, Reuben Holden, Charles R. Walker, Robert D. French, Archibald MacLeish, Dino Pionzio, William and McGeorge Bundy, Richard Moore, and George Bush are all bonesmen with U.S. intelligence agency jobs. The Skull and Bones Society, along with the Bush family, put illegal drugs such as heroin and cocaine on the streets of the U.S. and the rest of the world. The Illuminati families in America and Britain launched an international drug trade and still maintain it today. Through their power in government agencies, they wipe out opposition, and this is exactly what you see when you watch a big drug bust on the news. Controlling the drug trade is a huge step to gaining financial power, and is also a key factor in keeping parts of the world poor, unhealthy, and in poverty. The Skull and Bones Society has branches of power throughout the government, and Bushes were just one of the biggest families to be involved in the drug trade. The Skull and Bones Society is owned by the Russell Trust, an organization controlled by the Russells, a drug-running bloodline family. They flew the Skull and Bones flag on their ships as they transported drugs from the British Empire, from Turkey to China, and elsewhere during the Opium Wars of the 19th century. The Skull and Bones is an ancient Illuminati symbol used in its sacrificial rituals and secret language, not least by the Knights Templar. The Skull and Bones is a very well-hidden secret society that has infiltrated many positions of power in the U.S. government. One of their greatest methods of manipulation is the bipartisan Republican-Democrat system, in which they present two political figures from two different parties, and the American people have an election where they vote for which candidate they like more. This is clearly giving the illusion of choice to the population. They control both parties. They control the entire system. Yet I am supposed to believe that just by voting for one of their controlled puppets, that somehow everything is going to change? What are the chances that out of 300 million people, the two elected candidates would be related and both members of the same secret society? This is not a coincidence. It is reality. The Skull and Bones have taken big positions in power and have paved the way for the New World Order. They control both parties of the political system and have members in different sections of the government. In a 1992 interview with reporter Sarah McClendon, George H.W. Bush stated, "If the American people ever find out what we, the Bushes, have done, they would chase us down the street and lynch us."
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go on.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322?
First of all, he's not the nominee. And, look, I look forward...
Are you prepared to lose?
No, I'm not going to lose.
You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us? Not much, because it's a secret.
And I'll tell you why. I'll show you. In every Masonic lodge, this right here is a Masonic tracing board. It is in every Masonic lodge, some form or fashion, they have a picture of this. Notice that at the top is east, not north. On a compass, up at the top is north, due north, not in a Masonic lodge. The altar always faces east.
So there's 3 with 1 missing, it looks like. Is this the
I don't know exactly.
north, south, west, and the east is missing, or?
No, that would be the east.
That would be the east?
Because that's north.
Right.
Right. I don't know why that is missing, actually.
I asked him why there were only 3 lights at the altar, and he said he wasn't too sure why, but there are 3 because 1 represents the east, 1 represents the west, 1 represents the south, but in Masonry, the north is the place of darkness. And of course, according to the Bible tells us that the north is where God resides.
God is from the north. The Creator is from the north. The altar is not facing Him. It's facing east, where man was thrown out of the garden. Where does that come from? Genesis 3:24. So He drove out the man, and He placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubs and flaming sword, which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. And that's what's really going on here, is basically trying to get back in the Garden of Eden another way. But also notice, back to the tracing board, when you read from left to right, you have NEWS, news, and it is code. Because if you read it on a compass, it doesn't read correctly from left to right. Only in the Masonic tracing board or in a Masonic lodge do you get that reference from left to right, NEWS, news. So just wanted to point that out. And also, it was also in one of the Olympics a couple of years ago. The stage was newspaper, and they also had an octopus as one of the mascots used in that show. Tentacles everywhere, the symbolism of the octopus reaching out all over the world. Same thing. Is putting a stamp out there of we're in control of this artist, Taylor Swift. We're letting you know, we have her, what she's doing, her videos she's putting out, gorgeous, look what you made me do, and now this one. I mean, it's pretty much riding in a row telling you something. Look what you made me do. Are you ready for it, gorgeous? I mean, that's pretty much telling you how they use the titles to tell you a story separately of what's going on. So, lastly, before I play the video, there's 3 versions of this CD. There's the standard, there's a special version volume 2. Notice that the numbers that are used in the special versions is 72. Now, anybody that's followed or seen any of my videos, I've told you that the pyramid on the back of your dollar bill is an uncompleted temple. Eye of Lucifer, Horus, whatever you want to say, on the back of your US dollar bill. So 72 is code word for 666. Depending on who you ask, they'll understand. And what I mean by that is 66 add a 6. The world teaches you 66 add a 6, you get 72. Ask someone in the know, Freemasonry, a 33rd degree Mason, ask him 66 add a 6. He'll tell you 666. He'll just add the 6. The statement is the same. The question is the same. 66 add a 6. But the way you're taught to look at it and perceive it, you get a whole different answer. So it's no accident that they've used 72 on her special versions of these other CDs. And it has to do with the temple. It has to do with what the very secret, the inner sanctum of Freemasonry is about. Building human temples. Building a stairway to heaven another way other than the way we've been shown. And, for you guys who think I'm grasping at straws and saying, Nicholson, you're just seeing what you want to see, I'm going to show you just a little quick example of why I'm telling you it's all around you. You just got to look for it, and they're telling you. And this is a perfect example. Remember the perfume commercial a couple of years ago with Julia Roberts? Notice she's walking into the room. She's in white. Everybody else is in black. There you go, the Masonic black and white. Everybody's connected from above. That's what the Freemasons are above. They want to disconnect from the Creator. They want to do it their way. They don't want to answer to a Creator. They want to break free. There you go, breaking free from that. And they want to, look, she's going up the stairs. She's ascending another way. She does not want to be like the rest of everybody else. That's what you just saw in a little quick perfume commercial right in front of your eyes that most don't see. So, remember what I told you in the garden? They believe Lucifer freed them from the evil creator that is controlling us from above, and they want to break free. So, I hope you enjoy this video remix. It's a lot of little information, quick information in here that I remixed it for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you share it for those out there that are still asleep. They don't get it. People are just, they're looking at other things and being distracted. But this is really the one game. And you better be ready for it. No pun intended.
You can't play God without being acquainted with the devil. The problem, Bernard, is that what you and I do is so complicated. We practice witchcraft. We speak the right words, and we create life itself out of chaos.
Are you ready for Are you ready for Are you ready for it?
And we create life itself out of chaos. And we create life itself
Are you ready for it?
out of chaos.
Are you ready for it?
One day the AIs are going to look back on us the same way we look at fossils. One day the AIs are going to look back on us the same way we look at fossils.